Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we are going to be doing an unboxing and a teardown of this. It's the LDRC LD1201. Now you might recognise the Unimog body because this is basically styled exactly the same as the LD1201 by the same company, which I've reviewed in a previous video. The only difference being is, at the moment, you can pick up one of the LD1201s for about 50 quid. Whereas this thing, it normally retails between sort of 130 and 150 pounds. So what on earth makes this thing almost 3 times the price of the cheaper version? Well, in today's video, we're going to find out why and what makes this thing so special. So anyway, enough waffle. I'm not going to look at the box because that'll give you some clues. But we're going to get straight into it and open this bad boy up. Right then, in the box we get a load of accessories for the cab. We get a USB battery charger. We get what looks like a grip for the transmitter. We get a little box which has got what I think is a set of metal gearbox gears, which is nice. I don't know if they're spares or they're actually an upgrade part. We get one Mercedes-Benz logo. I'm not sure how they get away with it. Is it a licensed copy of this thing? But there's a Mercedes badge in there. We get a set of instructions, well, 2 actually, one for the original truck and one for the new LD1201. So you get 2 sets of instructions. One for the LD1201 has got very comprehensive parts and exploded diagram in it, so which you don't get in the other one. We get the transmitter itself. Now I must admit, for an RC that costs 130 odd plus pounds, the control you get, transmitter you get with it, is just horrible. I'm not a massive fan of these at all. I mean, it does the job, but it's just not very nice at all. And last but not least, we actually get the truck itself, and oh, I have to move some stuff. Get it out of the wrapper. Oh, there's a battery there as well. Oh, rolling around in the bag. There we go. We get one battery, forgot all about that. And we get the actual truck itself. Now then, these are, I must admit, they do look fantastic, these things. And this looks absolutely amazing in the orange. I did like the tan coloured one, I must admit. And this is just brilliant. I mean, it's got a bit of weight to it. I mean, outwardly, it looks like the cheaper version, but it's when you actually dive into it, and if we have a look underneath, that's where the main differences actually lie. Okay, for the purposes of demonstration, I just thought I'd go and grab the tan one out of the garage just to show you. Now, the first visible sign that we have a more expensive product is this is bare plastic and this is actually painted. I mean, not only is the cab painted, but the bed is painted a grey as well. I mean, you've even got like a painted grille at the front, and I think you'll agree that the orange version, it looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. Secondly is the tyres are different, and on the cheaper version, they are quite soft and compliant. On the expensive version, they really are very soft, and I think they've actually got foams in. They might even be a larger diameter as well. I'm not 100% sure. Also, one thing I did notice was the suspension, and it might be a bit difficult to tell actually, but I think on the cheaper version the suspension is a little bit harder, whereas they might have done something on the more expensive version, because the suspension definitely seems a lot more compliant, a lot softer and a lot smoother. I mean, this is quite harsh on the cheap one, but on the expensive version it does actually feel quite nice. Well, that's pretty much the aesthetic differences between the two. Let's flip them over and have a look underneath. Now, one of the first things I've noticed is there is actually a wiring loom going to the rear lights. On the standard one, there isn't any rear lights, but it looks as though you do get rear lights on the DR version. Also, the suspension, this is why it will be a lot plusher. On the old one, we've just got some WPL style leaf springs. On the new one, it's actually got a high lift kit on it as well, so that's why it feels a damn sight plusher. Moving on, but well, basically the first thing is we've got a bunch of servos here in the expensive version, and there is nothing nestling in between the frame spars on the cheap version, and there's a reason for that. Although this thing has got portal axles and this thing has got portal axles, This has actually got lockable diffs, so you can actually press a button on the controller and actually lock these diffs, so you can have them open or locked, whereas on the cheap one they're permanently locked. So we've got, not only have we got portal axles, we've got lockable portal axles, and this is what these little servos sort out for you. Moving up to the front of the trucks, on our cheap version we've got a little 260 motor nestled in there. Now I did actually say, if you go back to this review video, I did actually say that I wonder if they will bring a twin motored version out of this, and lo and behold, there we go. On the expensive version it's a twin 260 motor setup, and we've got a servo here which I presume changes gear for you. So we've got a 2-speed gearbox in here, so that's probably what those metal parts are for. They might be either replacements, or it's a special kit to replace the plastic 2-speed gears in this gearbox. So pretty much underneath is where the differences lie. I mean, we've got lockable rear diffs. I'm going to have a look, see how these work, but we've got lockable rear diffs with these little servos, and up front we've got a twin motor setup with a 2-speed gearbox. So I put the battery on charge for 10 minutes just to show you the lights. Front lights on this thing are pretty much the same as the cheap version, but everything else is different. We've got indicators, so when we obviously turn the wheel on the transmitter, they start flashing at us. Oh god, on the rear, nearly went off the edge of the desk. On the rear, we should have some lights. Now, again, we've got indicators. I think if we reverse, have we got reversing lights? Yeah, we've got reversing lights. Where are our stop lights though? Right, I've just worked out why the rear stop lights aren't working. It's because I'm not braking, obviously. If we go forward, brake, there you go. Right, just to demonstrate the 2 speeds. High speed, low speed. I presume that's more of a crawler gear. And not only can you lock the diffs, you can lock them independently of one another. So you can lock the front separately to the rear. So the rear is still locked, front is unlocked, and I think I've just clicked it, yeah. Now both diffs are unlocked. So I mean, that's absolutely incredible. Now with the bed off, you can better see the servos that actuate the diff locks. So if I press that, one of the diff locks, you can see they're on sort of a spring-loaded top to the servo, and it basically pulls a little cable on. And the gear changes down there. Do you see that moving? That's very much similar to our WPL 2-speed gearbox works, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure if that board is the same as the cheap version, because on the cheap version you had all these extra plugs that didn't do anything, and I did say at the time, I wonder if there's an extra functionality that you can get future, you might be able to get in the future. And this is probably, I wonder if you can use the same board actually, but you can get a better idea of the complexity and the setup of this thing with the bed off. And with the cab off, we can get a better view of the twin motor setup there, and the little rod that actuates the 2-speed gearbox. What I might do is just have a quick, get one of these diffs off and have a look and see how they're operated by this cable. Okay, that's pretty much decimated that. Discretion is the better part of valour, I think, in this case. I'm not going to strip the axle down. Suffice to say that when there's no tension on it, the diffs are locked. As soon as the little servo applies a bit of tension on this cable, something must happen inside. It must pull something, and you can then rotate each wheel independently of the other. Anyway, what we've ended up with. So that is basically why the LDRC LD1201 is almost 3 times the price of the cheapie, because of all these bits and pieces you get in it. Now then, is it worth it? I'm going to say from a performance standpoint, off-road standpoint, I don't think all of this extra gubbins is going to be 3 times as good as a standard truck, because the standard truck is pretty good actually for what it is. What it is, however, is a really cool sort of tech demonstration for LDRC. I mean, independently lockable diffs, twin motor, 2-speed, full set of indicators. From that standpoint, it's worth the price. I was going to say, I don't think it's 3 times as good performance-wise as the stock truck, but it certainly is a really interesting little piece of kit. So from that standpoint, would I recommend it to you guys? And I'm going to say yeah. From a purely cool point of view, it's worth every single penny, I think. As ever, if you want to buy this truck, not this one because I've taken it to bits, but if you want to buy a fully assembled one, I will leave a link in the description to where you can go and get it from. If you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, smash that subscribe button. It makes a huge, huge difference to the channel. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again very, very soon. Thank you.